Hey gamers, welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today I'm going to be going through some of my favorite things about being a student here at Stanford University. So if you're someone who was recently accepted and is trying to figure out if Stanford is the right fit for you, or if you're just someone trying to learn more about Stanford University in general, you have come to the right place. Now this list is going to be completely subjective because it's based on what I personally love about Stanford. So if you're someone who's not me, you may like some things or not like some things that are different from me. So this list is kind of just to give you an idea of what kind of school Stanford is like. So just bear that in mind. And with that, let's dive right in. Item number 1, the weather. As someone from Boston, where you get warm weather really only like 3 days out of the whole year, coming to Stanford was definitely a really welcome change because it's always really nice out. Of course, in the summer you get really nice weather where it's around 80 to 90 degrees every day, but even in the fall and the winter months that are usually pretty cold back where I'm from, it was usually around 50 to 60 degrees pretty consistently. So the weather here has definitely been a lot nicer to me. Back in winter quarter, there was never a time where I had to walk to class through this mixture of snow and ice and mud that was just really gross. If I had to choose one thing about the weather here that I'm not the biggest fan of, it would probably be the fact that it doesn't really rain here all that much because California is in a drought, but I don't really leave my room all that often anyways, so not as big of a deal for me. And overall, as someone who was expecting to spend college in the Northeast where it does get really yucky and cold, I am really liking the weather here on campus. It's definitely a nice change of pace. Second thing on the list is the location of campus. Between being in the middle of an urban center and the middle of rural nowhere, I would say that Stanford strikes a pretty nice balance where you aren't too close to a major city, but you also aren't really too far away from one. I personally am really not a big fan of really big metropolitan cities like New York, LA, Chicago, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to live in the middle of nowhere like Utah or Indiana. And I would say outside of campus, there are plenty of places that are within, I'd say, reasonable distance. San Francisco is about 45 minutes away, San Jose around like the same distance. I personally am not really into all the computer science, tech, business side of things, but if you are that kind of person, Silicon Valley really can't be beat. So in terms of that, I would say this is a pretty ideal location. And one big benefit of being in the Bay Area is that there are so many Asians, which is quite different from back home. And so there are a lot of Asian restaurants just around the area. You know, you have your things like H Mart, 99 Ranch, Korean barbecue, and all of that is all well and good. But when I found out that there are Jollibees, Seafood Cities, and Goldilocks within like half an hour from campus, my jaw was literally on the floor. It's so nice to have all of those things within reasonable distance, and I find myself going to those places way too often. And another thing that I really like about Stanford is, of course, the architecture. Maybe you guys have seen pictures online of Main Quad or somewhere else on campus, but everywhere here it looks really nice. The architecture of the buildings here is definitely quite different from colleges in the Northeast, but Stanford definitely has its own charm, and I'm pretty sure I said when I first came here, but coming to campus felt so surreal because the campus was just really beautiful.
Kind of freaking out, dude. I'm on campus. This is wild.
Moving along, another thing that I like about Stanford is the quarter system that they have. So whereas most colleges run on a semester system, Stanford runs on a quarter system. So the academic year is broken up into 3 quarters and then a summer quarter. And this is something that I really like because it gives me the opportunity to take more classes within the year because we're switching quarters so frequently. And along with that, Stanford is pretty flexible when it comes to your classes. As a student, you're free to take classes in whatever department you're in. So if I were an English major, I would still be able to take computer science classes in the engineering department. So there aren't really that many barriers to taking certain classes in different departments. Of course, sometimes you will have prerequisites, but besides that, Stanford is pretty flexible when it comes to which classes you can take. And with those classes, you're going to get to meet a lot of really cool faculty and professors who have done some really cool cutting edge stuff in their fields. And the classes they teach are on so many different cool topics like My roommate is currently taking a class on anime, which absolutely crazy, but I think that just goes to show how cool the classes at Stanford are, and it does make me really excited to learn new things. And within your major, for the most part, you do get a lot of freedom with what classes you want to take. Of course, this is going to vary by majors where some are more restrictive than others. But for example, for my major, which is human biology, there are certain tracks that I can take. And within those tracks, I am pretty free to select from a number of different classes or even suggest my own classes. So it really gives me the chance to make my learning experience what I want it to be, and so that I am able to take classes on things that I am genuinely interested in, which of course is really important. And beyond just classes, Stanford is really rich in the number, the amount, and the quality of opportunities that they are just throwing around everywhere. At some point, I found myself on 100 different mailing lists where they're always sending things about jobs, internships, research, programs, and all sorts of different opportunities that they are essentially just shoving down your throat because of how many opportunities there are. So really, no matter who you are and no matter what your interests are, there is always going to be something that is there for you, an opportunity on something that you are interested in. And for the most part, a lot of them tend to be friendly to beginners with no experience really in a given field. Definitely really nice that there are just so many opportunities here for students to take advantage of. Like for me, I was able to recently join a research lab on campus, and now in the summer I'm going to be doing neuroscience research here on campus. And so that just kind of happened, and a lot of times that's really just how it be. Like there are so many opportunities, and really it's just about going out there and taking advantage of them. Something else that I really like is the variety of extracurricular activities that are offered here. At the beginning of the year, Stanford puts on this activities fair where all the different clubs and organizations on campus can kind of just promote themselves to all the students at the beginning of the year. And from that, I was able to join a bunch of different clubs on a variety of topics that I'm interested in. So no matter what your interests are in, there is a pretty good chance that there is already a club on campus that caters toward that interest. And what this means, unfortunately, is that there is too much to do and too little time. Like there are so many cool clubs that I would like to join, but I just don't have the time to, unfortunately. But the ones that I am able to join are really, really cool. I've been doing Taekwondo for this past year, and just a couple weeks ago, I started doing Kendo. So many cool extracurricular activities here. Very, very fun. And outside of organized clubs and activities, there are also a lot of events that just go on campus for different things. And so those are always opportunities to do cool new things, try new experiences, and just hang out with your friends. It's also always a really good opportunity to just take some free food. In the past, I've randomly gone to trivia nights and game jams with a bunch of my friends, and it's always been a really nice time. And another thing that I like about Stanford is the dining here, which can kind of be hit or miss sometimes, but when it hits, sheesh, it hits. Some of my favorite things that they've had are mozzarella sticks filled with jalapenos, chili relleno, katsu chicken. Sheesh, so good. And the dorm I'm living in this year is what's called a row house that is a self-op. And without getting too into the details, one of the benefits of this is that we have our own dining area and our own dining staff, which is really nice because they cook really, really good food. Sheesh. We had some quesadillas today. Wow, so good. All right, one more thing that I love about Stanford, which is gonna be really cliche and it's what everyone and their mother says, but I really love the people here. You know, coming to Stanford, I was kind of worried, kind of nervous that I wouldn't really be able to make friends or fit in because everyone at Stanford is so cool and driven and passionate and geniuses in their respective fields. So I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find my own place, but that definitely has not been the case. I've been fortunate enough to meet some really, really cool people who have been really supportive and are some of my best friends today. And it's always really fun to go out and do stuff or just hang around in our rooms together. As someone who went to a really small high school and didn't have all that many friends, I really appreciate the fact that there are so many cool people here and that there are always people that I can find similar interests with, and that there are so many different opportunities to meet new people and make new friends, you know, kind of like networking, but in a more genuine way. So I would definitely say that it is the people here at Stanford that have really made my college experience so far and are definitely my absolute favorite thing about Stanford. And so these are some of my favorite things about Stanford, you know, the things that I love about Stanford. So if you clicked on this video to learn more about Stanford, hopefully it's convinced you to either apply to Stanford or choose Stanford if you're already admitted. And if you would still like some more information, next time I plan on doing a video on my least favorite things about Stanford. So if that's something that would interest you, be sure to like and subscribe, turn on the notifications so you don't miss that video. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Sliding through the field, what it do, what it does. Talking California, let me tell them what it was. Had to pop up on the scene to give the Central Coast some love. To give the Central Coast some bud. Too smooth.